It is great to have you on the show. There's a lot of big things that happened this week. This is a very busy week in Congress. I want to start with one of those that go towards election integrity, and that is the passage yesterday. I think it's called the SAVE Act, Safeguard American Voter Eligibility. It requires proof of American citizenship if you're going to register and vote in a federal election. This is a very popular issue. 80-90% of Americans like this, but some states are trying to do the opposite. This could really be a big deal, right?
This could throw the election when you've had the sheer numbers, John, of people coming over the border illegally. We think anywhere from 10 to maybe 12, 14 million people. If you just had just a few, 1 or 2%, you could actually throw this. If you let those people vote, you can throw this election and it would be decided by illegal aliens. And this is okay, apparently, for the Democrat Party.
Yeah. So I wonder, Congressman, sorry, go ahead.
It's just incredible to think that that the Democrat Party has, and they simply do not tell the truth. They'll look straight in your face and say, this has nothing to do with election. This has nothing to do with allowing people to vote. It has everything to do. Every bit of evidence that comes out, the very first bill that the Democrats offered was H.R. 1 back when Pelosi was the Speaker of the House, and that would have given foreign nationals and illegal aliens the right to vote. For heaven's sakes, they've already got the right to vote in the local elections in several states, including California right now, and they want to see them vote in federal elections throughout the land, and they want to try to federalize that. Well, the SAVE Act, thank goodness for Chip Roy and some good folks over in the Senate, Mike Lee. I'm 100% behind this bill. We have got, and it is Save America, and that's what it's going to do. If we can make sure that every vote that is cast is a legal citizen, bona fide, and every person that votes who is a bona fide citizen, that vote will be counted, because I'm not sure that happened in the last election.
I think a lot of people share that skepticism. I want to dig in on this because I'm here in California. We have motor voters. So this, I assume, would trump that. Would it in effect nullify motor voter laws in states across the country?
It would. It would supersede. It would supersede the states that simply want to close their eyes and even call you a racist for wanting for someone to approve that they're a legal citizen. It's the most blatant, in your face election interference that I think you could ever see. Is to have these people start voting, and that's what they want. And they don't want you to check. They don't want any people to have to show identification. You know, when you go to a baseball game in Major League, or you go to a football game, you got to show a ticket to get in. You cannot take the word of someone trying to get into a football game. They can't just sign an affidavit and say, yeah, I got a seat and sign this paper. Well, this is what they're doing. When you have drive-through voting, when you have same-day registration, when you have motor voter, when you've got the motor vehicle bureaus in counties and in cities that simply, when they give a driver's license to someone, they sign them up to vote, and they have no idea. And then when you have state laws that prevent and prohibit people from asking the citizenship proof, then you've got a way for an entire election to be thrown.
Yeah, so important. And we're beginning to educate the American public. Very important stuff. Congressman, about 2 years ago, I had the pleasure of coming down to your district. We spent a wonderful night dinner with some great Republican women there. And it was the first time I got educated. You educated me that night that one of the real motives of Democrats in plowing these millions of people across the border, by that time there weren't that many coming across, it was just ramping up, that the goal was to throw the census, to put people and run up numbers so that they could shift census and resources and apportionment to blue states. Yesterday, a very big moment when legislation gets through the House that puts the citizenship question back on the census, keeps illegal aliens from benefiting states. Will that get through the Senate? You think you can get that through the Senate?
I think there's a fat chance that gets through the Senate. I say that very cynically. but it definitely does need to be gotten through the Senate. And let's just hope that this November we are going to see the American people stand up, because this is the number one issue, John and Amanda, and that is the border. We have got to get a handle on our border. We've got to know who's coming in. We've got to make sure that the ones that are coming in are benefiting the United States of America and not just one party. And this is what's happening as we speak today. We push back as hard as we can, but we don't have control of the DOJ. We don't have control of the Department of Homeland Security, and they are calling the shots on the border. And thank goodness for governors like Texas Governor Greg, who is doing all he can. Our state government down here is doing all they possibly can to protect citizens and protect our way of life. But it is stunning to think that this could be part of the death knell of the United States of America as a free republic.
Yeah, very important stakes.
Sir, there are devastating effects in practically every sector of American society that results from the border. But we had 6 more individuals on the terror watch list apprehended at the border last month, which brings the grand total up to, I think, 357 since Joe Biden took office, compared to 11 under Donald Trump. But if there is some type of terror crisis, if there is a terror attack in the United States, who can Joe Biden blame?
He will have to look in the mirror, because that's who's going to be the one to be blamed. And I think most, and a huge majority of Americans, when you have an 80% issue like the border is, the American people they're going to know who's going to be responsible for a major terrorist attack. And I will say this, and I say it with a straight face: it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when we get hit again by a major terrorist attack, and also maybe even a concerted terrorist attack in multiple parts of the country, whether it be our water supplies, our grid, our energy sector. Who knows? It could be athletic events and in big stadiums. Who knows? We don't know, but we know one thing: there are hundreds and hundreds, and probably thousands of people who are running around this country today that intend harm.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And we know it for sure. Sir, this is something I didn't know about, but I'm much more educated today, thanks to you and all your great colleagues in the House. The ASTRO Act, Astronaut Safe Temporary Options Act, passed the House. It authorizes expenditure of funds for transportation of government astronauts returning from space for performance or medical research, monitoring, diagnosis. I didn't know this was a problem. How did this get to be this way?
It's a problem because astronauts, when they return from their work at the International Space Station or whatever they're doing up in space, they are prohibited from driving, because there are some health problems that happen to you when you are in zero gravity. Ocular problems, eye problems. You've got osteoporosis, where your bones are not near as strong as they would be when you spend a long time in no gravity. And a lot of other things that can happen to you up there. So we want to make sure that these astronauts are getting their medical treatment and getting the examinations they need, and it's all being compiled for future astronaut trips, because we know that we're literally reaching for the stars. We're going back with Artemis. We're going to be going back to the surface of the moon, and then from the moon we want to go to our nearest neighbor, Mars, and that would be a many-month journey to get there and a many-month journey to get back. So we need to have this information on medical results of being up there in zero gravity. They're in a lot of radiation. There's some things we've got to do before we start going to Mars. Well, we're going to do it though, and this act is what's going to help us to compile this information, to take these astronauts, to give them rides back and forth to their doctors, to the people who are studying this. And until they are able to drive and move themselves around, and so this is going to be something that will help us in the future, and to get to Mars, to get back to the moon and on beyond.
Important stuff.
So we got 20 seconds left. You and your co-chairs Harshberger and Miller on the Family Caucus, you guys gave a strong message to Joe Biden regarding his changes to Title IX. Can you reflect that for our audience?
Oh, I surely can. As someone with 9 granddaughters, and quite frankly, 3 daughters who are athletes, all of them, we want to make sure that girls' sports, which is we have fought long and hard for. This is the reason Title IX was written years ago, and now that we've got these, quite frankly, folks that want to undermine women's sports. They want to let men compete against women. Listen, you can let them grow hair, you can give them hormones, but they're still a man. And when you have someone who's 6'3", 6'4", and he's a male, and he just happens to be taking a few hormones, and he goes out and he's a swimmer, and he beats all comers who are females, there's no wonder. And so we want to protect women's sports. It's a precious thing that they didn't always have. And we do have protections for women until these ridiculous rulings that are coming out and executive orders coming out of the Biden administration. We got to protect our girls. We got to protect our women. We cannot have males, whether they believe they're women or not. We cannot have males going into the locker rooms, the bathrooms, the changing rooms of females, and then to have them the women are playing second fiddle, because we know that men are stronger, they're bigger, they're faster than women. And we cannot allow this to happen to our women in this country.